All right, we're being recorded. All right. So, first of all, I want to say welcome to everyone. This is a brand new year, a different year. It's a year of first for a lot of us. We're getting a little bit more comfortable with all this virtual stuff. We're trying a few new things, so are we here in our office. I know this is going to create a lot of experimenting. Things will work well, things may not work as well as we thought. So we're definitely going to try to have a little fun here as we're going through. Now, as we get started, I did actually, oh, see a notice? Perfect. And if you do have something that you want to reach out and comment, feel free to do so. Sometimes I'm on another screen and I see the pop-up, so definitely let me know. If you want to stop me at any time to ask questions, you can raise your hand and we can go from there. All right, to start out, we do have our first part. Because there's a lot of new names, a lot of new faces, what we're going to do is have a little fun here. We are going to, since there's 24 of us about now, we're going to keep it small. All right. We are going to try our first time doing the breakout room function, and we're going to actually have a little bit of an icebreaker for you all to introduce yourself to at least a few more people in the room and actually be able to share a little bit of yourself and make a connection with some of your fellow reps, fellow officers. All right, so here we go. What I'm going to do is put you in your rooms and you're going to pay attention to the chat for your subject, and we're going to spend maybe 3 minutes introducing yourselves and talking about the subject that I put in the chat. So not too hard, right? All right. Are you ready? Are you steady? Let's see how this goes. Remember, you're going to get put in your rooms, and then you're going to get your subject through the chat. Hey guys, we have a breakout session right now. I'm actually going to toss y'all into the breakout rooms. Hi. We're just introducing ourselves and talking about why we're getting involved. You can either stay in this room or you can talk within your chat room. We're just going to do it for about a minute and then we're all coming back. All right. Is there any chatting going on in your room?
Yes, I have 2 people who have left.
Okay.
And Bob O'Brien, who's the sitting advisor for Table Tennis Club, he's just observing.
Okay. That's it in your room?
You're
not.
That's okay.
Told him was, I said that we would put together a meeting potentially for.
Sorry, guys, I brought you all back. I know, it was like shock and awe. So, so you've all experienced the wonderful world of a breakout room. The cool thing about this, just knowing the functionalities, just kind of like Zoom, we have this at our fingertips here. It's free. No one really has to sign up for an account. You just let me know and I can put you under an open room under CCG account, and it could be the same link all year long if you're having virtual meetings. So just knowing another functionality of the Blackboard collaborate system. Oh, yes, we see you there, Katie. And if you don't have a microphone, feel free to use the chat function as well, okay? Let's get started. What is your why? And I always put this out there because when you're talking about involvement, every student has the reason why they got involved. Now, it could be that you're voluntold on the other end, but most students have a passion for what they're doing. They want to get more immersed in the subject area of their degree. Part of what we're doing here is allowing you to develop yourself outside of the classroom, use what you've learned in the classroom, and a way that you are developing it. You're actually practicing what you've learned in these different leadership roles. Through student activities, student leadership, part of what we're doing here is allowing you to have a forum for that, allowing you to pursue your passions, to make sure you mute your mic, guys, but making sure that you are getting the most out of your education. As we go forward, I like for everyone to understand that CCG is your campus coalition government. You have your organization here on campus, and you may think of it as your little group, your little, silo, but we are so much bigger, connected through the state. You are one piece of about 800,000 students here in the state of Florida who are in the Florida college system. So just kind of breaking it down. And if you've never used Blackboard before, on your left-hand side, right underneath like the 3 lines, there is a show view controls that allows you to kind of magnify what you're looking at and increase the size of whatever it is so you can actually see it a little bit better. So definitely, use that function. If I'm showing something and it's a little further away, you can increase the size, decrease the size, whatever fits you. So there are 28 state colleges, I think 1 or 2 community colleges. 1 community college. I think that's TCC, and there's another one. But we all are servicing sort of the same population. We all have our own nuances, but we're immersed into the community. As you can see here, we are a part of a whole little grid here, a system. We fall under the Florida College System Activities Association over here to my right, which has the presidents of those. It's sponsored by the, or I guess under that. All right, Bob. You have the executive committee. You also have it broken down between athletics and also other activities. For example, just like student government, we are a part, Brain Bowl has their own chapter within the Florida College Activities Association, forensics, Model UN, music, publications, student government, which we are CCG here at the college, and theater. We're all a part of it. So just being able to understand where we are within the college system and how we interact with these different groups. All right. Now I'm going to minimize back out. All right. So the Florida College System Activities Association is our governing body, as I said, and the Florida College System Student Government Association is who we actually go off and report to. I know this looks a little differently than how I had it on my slide, but we're going to keep moving. All right. And then it goes further. We actually, the student government here on campus reports to a region, And all 4 of those regions report to a state board. So students have a way when they join CCG and join the executive board, they can also go on to join the region executive board and even possibly the state executive board. So there's opportunities for growth when you get involved with the Campus Coalition government. All right, we're part of Region 3. As you can see us over here, we're part of like that southeast Florida area. And it's not by the number of colleges, it's not evenly spread out because certain colleges are a little bit bigger. So that's why Region 4 looks smaller, but the number of students, whew, Miami-Dade alone has like, I think 7 campuses. Now, and just, yes, Rochelle, just a reminder, those advisors that may have stopped in, this is for CCG reps, alternates, officers, advisors will be at 3 p.m. We do have social media if you do want to follow the state organizations, especially those who are interested in the legislative process. Billy Hernandez is the chair of the legislative committee. He'll be talking a little bit later. But if you want to be a little bit more versed in some of the organizations that are in the state and some of their social media pages to kind of follow along, definitely get out there and join. It will definitely keep you informed of what's going on legislatively. And another thing that's happening right now, all the way to the 13th, speaking of legislative committee, they hear issues and advocate for issues through student government. The great thing about that is that you are able to not only use your voice here, but you're able to use it on a regional level and on a state level. Like I said, we're connected. So if you are interested in submitting, or if there's an issue, a legislative issue, or an issue that relates to the college or the system as a whole. Some of the issues that have been brought up in the past that the students have actually gone up to Tallahassee and lobbied, or I guess pushed for, these different platforms that relate to carry on campus, veterans rights, scholarship related, funding related issues. All these can be brought up to your CCG executive board. And if you have a really, idea that you are so passionate about, bring it to your executive board. We can put forth submissions up until the 13th, so we have a little bit more time to be able to do so. So like I said, you have the ability to create change in a whole system and be a part of that. All right, so now we have our committees. We're going to actually have some of our members from the CCG Executive Board talk a little bit about these different committees and their what their roles are here on campus. All right, so I think we're going to go just in line here. Let's start out with Julie Diaz.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie Diaz, and I am Secretary of the Campus Coalition Government and Chair of the Historian Committee. So my responsibility as Secretary involves taking attendance, creating reporting minutes of the meetings, and maintaining the student body files. And as for the committee, it is an organization that seeks to record, track, and collect all the happenings of an organization. And this includes collecting photos, documents, keeping track of awards, etc. And additionally, at the end of the year, we prepare a scrapbook for competition that all the members of the committee can contribute to. And that's about it. So thank you for your time.
Next, I'm going to have Billy Hernandez.
Alrighty, can everybody hear me? Perfect. All right, thank you. So I'm Billy Hernandez. I am sitting president of CCG, as well as being president of Writing Club. I'm also chair for the legislative committee and the temporary chair for the PR and marketing committee. The purposes of the committees are stated below, are stated on the slide. So for the legislative, we research and inform the General Assembly. Those are the CCG meetings that happen every other Wednesday I believe that's starting next week. Yeah, next week. Basically, like we research and inform some legislation, national issues, or some local, state, and national issues, and relate to the coalition campus government. As for PR and marketing, we publicize and market student activity events. So let's say the writing club has this event going on, a poetry reading of sorts, and part of PR and marketing, you could work with PR and marketing to have flyers created to sell that event to the student body, or to promote the event to the student body, better put. And that's it in a nutshell. Thank you for your time.
All right. I just had to adjust my sound here in the room so we didn't get feedback. All right. All right. So just, and like I said, it's very hard to see the names on here, but I know we had some technical difficulties there, so I'll just highlight the other two. We have Student Life Committee, Ariana Smith. She is our treasurer here, so she will be working with the point system here on campus, as well as she'll definitely be in the office. All of our student reps are doing virtual office hours each week through this link. Same link is here, so you can always jump on and join Ariana and say hello if you have questions about points this year. She's also working with the Student Life Committee. Part of the Student Life Committee's purpose is to improve student life here for students on campus. If there's any recommendations for change, she's the point of contact for that as well. So definitely, if you do have any suggestions for local change, get with Ariana. We also have Emanuela Tranquil. She is the CCG parliamentarian, and she is the chair of the Helping Hands Committee. In her role as parliamentarian, she is the one who helps keep order at the meetings, who also is in charge of working with the different constitutions of your clubs. So if you are a representative or officer, president, she may be reaching out to you to talk to you about your constitution. If you haven't updated your club constitution in a very, very, very long time, it may be something to take a look at. So working with Emanuela to make sure that your constitution is being followed, that is very important. Everybody should have their constitution under their documents on RiverLife. And the purpose of the Helping Hands Committee, which she works with, is to create change, build friendships, as well as to do community service. They reach out within the community. They've done certain projects all throughout the years. This year is going to be a little different. So virtual community service, we've already have a couple projects that are out there, and we're looking for more. So if you have some great virtual service projects that you've heard about, or things that students can participate in, definitely get back with us. All right. Thank you, guys. Now, these are our virtual office hours as they stand. As you can see, there's a little bit of an opening. We do have an additional spot on the board that we will be looking at to fill in the next upcoming week. So students who are interested, definitely get in contact with Billy Hernandez. And as you, if you're on main campus, you can definitely stop by during those times. But for other students who are virtual, this link during their virtual office hours denoted by the V, those students can just log on and actually talk with their members during those times. So it's definitely a nice, convenient way, especially if you're virtual learning. So get a hold of Billy if you are interested in taking on a role from the board. We're definitely looking at bringing on another student leader in the, like I said, upcoming week or two to make our board full. All right. All right, and the virtual link for the office hours, it's actually the same link that you got in to join here for this meeting. It's the same one. So this is used for our CCG meetings, trainings, pretty much everything CCG. It's an open meeting that we use to even just drop in and have virtual conversations. So if you want to talk to one of your executive boards, definitely pay attention to the times above. And if you need the website, it's https://bit.ly/CCG all that's uppercase in the last. So definitely, oh, thank you. Definitely reach out to us during that time. All right, so this year, and it's going to be more important than ever, your communication, the routes of communication, how you have done things in the past, you are going to have a very new normal. All right, and unfortunately, this is what we're dealt with. I've been saying it is what it is for whole 2020. So now that we know it is what it is, let's see how we're going to get the most out of this year. You know, it doesn't have to be just that. There's so much more that we can do. So let's talk about it. You're going to have to stay connected with your advisor. Yes, absolutely. Because this is going to be your person on campus that kind of connects you to what's happening here, college policy, and they're going to be the one to help advise you when you're starting planning for some of these activities. They can reach out to us, of course, you can reach out to us, but it's something to be stated that you want to make sure that you are keeping up with them. They know what you're doing. It's very easy in a virtual environment to be separated from your advisor. And then if I call them and say, hey, I read this, how's this going? And they say they have no idea, or if I talk to you as president, it would be the same way around if the advisor was, you know, had plans and you had no idea. So that communication is very important. There are virtual ways to spread the news about your organization. We have them right in RiverLife through news articles. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Different media sites, you can use those, but again, there are certain parameters regarding social media, so we definitely will highlight that as well. Sorry. I think it's like mass dry mouth is what happens. All right. When members cannot make it out to the meetings, I hope you are still reaching out to them, because more than ever, if someone joins one meeting, one virtual meeting, and you don't see them face to face, run into them in the hallway, you may not get another chance to meet that person or greet them. So if you see someone was here this week and not here next week, make sure you follow up with them. If you are able to delegate any of your tasks, I know right now everybody's very stressed out. There's a lot on everyone's plate. So with clubs and organizations, you definitely want to make sure that you aren't taking this all on yourself. You are doing the event planning, you're doing the flyers, you're doing this. So if you are president, if you are secretary, you are the CCG rep, you want to make sure that you're not taking this all on by yourself. You shouldn't be running an organization by yourself. It may take a little bit if you're a new organization or if you lost a lot of members to get back started, but you want to be able to lean on your advisor, but your other students who are a part of the organization as well. You definitely want to look at your roster. This is a great time right now to look over, see who's still there, maybe send a message out to see who you still have who's active. Remember, you must have a 2.0 GPA and be enrolled in classes. Those are the parameters for being involved as a student here in clubs and organizations. All right. Sending out agendas, even if they are just, you know, these are the things that are being covered. We hope you can join us, and make sure that you have set parameters on, I know with RiverLife, it makes it very easy to have these and put where to join, what the meeting's going to hold, who's going to be the chairperson if someone has any questions. That's really important. So always with anything that you're doing, make sure you try to include some of those. I hope you all have started thinking about your regularly scheduled meetings. I know some of you may want to have your first meeting and then decide what day works best for everyone, since we're a little virtual now. That may be a good thing, but everyone should have a meeting in RiverLife within the next month, especially if you're talking about getting people together getting the organization members together. I should see some of those requests coming in. I see some events. I see some clubs that are putting in their meeting for the semester. That's great. All right, and utilize RiverLife for your communications. There's several ways where you can communicate with your members. Some may take 5 minutes or so to get set up. Others may be real quick. So we're going to go over a few of those today as well. All right. Do you know your role within your organization? One, it's another way of checking in on your constitution. Every organization has a constitution that outlines what your role is. If someone said, hey, do you want to do secretary or vice president, and you signed up for it and have no idea what your responsibilities are, look to the Constitution. If your Constitution doesn't highlight anything that you are responsible for, you may want to have a review of your Constitution this year. This is very important because you want to know what is required of you. You may have to change around some of your voting practices if you've always done things in person. This may be a good time to change things up. If you need to add any other new members, maybe you have a social media person that is in your organization that does just social media or community service projects. Is this going to be something that's permanent, or can you create these positions? Look towards your Constitution and find out what your role is and what your responsibilities are. So as a CCG rep, this is what our Constitution states your role is. All right. So for every organization, and I always say it's like a representative or a senator, your club selects you to represent them at the Campus Coalition Government meeting. So it's like a meeting of the House, kind of. And then those members also have alternates. The president or vice president can be an alternate or a main rep. The same person can't be alternate and main rep. That doesn't make sense, because if the main rep cannot be there, then the alternate would then step in. All right. And hopefully, if you are a CCG rep or alternate, you have the phone number or email of the other who is the rep or the alternate. Because if you are the main rep and can't be there, you don't want to be confused as to who you call to attend the meeting. All right? Because otherwise you'll be stuck and you'll say, hey, I can't make it today. Can you make it? And yeah, I can make it, or maybe we have to find someone else. So you should be communicating within your team. All right? So as far as the CCG roles, as a CCG rep or alternate, you are going to attend the General Assembly meetings. They're all virtual this year, 12:30 to 1:30 at this very same link. That's all you have to do is log in. You would put your name and your club, hopefully. Let's get into the practice of that to make things very easy for our secretary. And then as we go through coming to trainings like this, this is a part of your role. Be accountable to the CCG Executive Board or to the organization that you're representing. You also want to make sure that you're reporting official business back to your organization. You are the official voice of your organization. There's going to be times where certain things are going to be put to vote. We may talk to you at one meeting, and then 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a vote. So you're going to have to bring that information back and come in with a consistent consensus from your organization. So sometimes, we may ask, for updates and things. Hopefully these things are things you know well in advance, and you're able to report those to your organization and get their feedback. That's what we want. We don't want it to be just one person making choices for a whole group. So this is how we do things. You shall sit on at least one standing committee, CCG reps. I want you to make note of that. We have 5 different committees, all which are meeting virtually. There should be no reason why anybody can't find a committee. Even, you can sign up for multiple ones, but you have to at least sign up for one and be involved. And I tell you this, the time commitment is very small, but the impact is very big. So make sure you're also looking on RiverLife to sign up for one of the committees, and make sure that you are meeting the minimum requirements of a CCG rep. Again, you must be enrolled in classes. You must have at least a 2.0 to be involved in student activities. And I'm going to tell you this, why is it important to have an update on your agendas for the CCG rep? It's one thing to come to every single CCG meeting and bring back the information to your club, but never tell anyone. You want to have a spot on your club's agenda, whether that following week or whenever your club meets next, to fill them in on the things that are happening. Or even sending out an email if your club meets once a month. Send them out an email or the minutes from the previous meeting, but your club should be informed about what's taking place. All right? So make sure that you are doing that as reps. Again, some of that may trickle over to the officers as well. You want to make sure that if you're the secretary of an organization working with the agenda or the president, you want to make sure that that rep is on your agenda. All right, so let's talk about how to run effective meetings. You want to make sure the agenda is set for your organization. Now, when I say set, you want to make sure that everybody on the executive board of your organization knows what's taking place, knows what's happening, knows their speaking points. And then from there, you want to make sure that's posted somewhere. Either you email it out to your members or by a certain date, you post it on RiverLife under documents. Very nice dropping zone for previous agendas, for minutes and things like that. Have a set start time and end time for your members to know when things are going to be. It's very easy for virtual meetings to get out of hand and go on forever. We don't want that to happen. So make sure you have a start time and end time. Or if you have, this is our meeting time, we're meeting 45 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes is more of like a socializing time for us to kind of talk amongst each other. And that's fine too. All right. If there is any sort of action plan as far as PolyPro, parliamentary procedure, when you're doing votes, we actually have a little cheat sheet under the CCG organization. So organizations that want to follow PolyPro, which means like I motion to approve the minutes without changes. Someone makes a second. How does that process work? If this is the first time you've ever worked with PolyPro within your organization, it does help the meeting go along smoothly. It does, especially when there's something important being discussed, it does keep the discussion to a certain time, and it allows you to keep moving. And it also, you can refer things to a special meeting before any votes take place as well. So that's very important. If you can handle some of that discussion, the ideas before you get to your meeting, PolyPro goes very smoothly. There may be some little talks during that time, but you can definitely get things and keep things moving. It definitely helps with speaking out of turn. So definitely check that out. Again, under CCG documents on RiverLife, you can find that 2-page handout. Get the most out of your club. All right, RiverLife, we say everything is in RiverLife. There's so many different things that have taken place within RiverLife over the past few months. All right, this is your place. Students who have never logged in, if you go into your My Pioneer portal, you'll see this wonderful little emblem down here that says RiverLife. When you click on that, that takes you into all the clubs and organizations. Your club is on there. Make sure if you are showing up today, your position is showed on your roster. All right, some of you may be just still a member, so you may have to get with your president, or excuse me, your advisor, to change your position on the roster and update your roster. Some of you haven't looked at your roster in a while. You may have members that have graduated with their bachelor's, congratulations, and are still on the roster who may not be taking classes anymore. So you want to take a look at that. It's definitely a way to capture everything your club is doing, especially when you're talking about at the end of this year, everything's going to be so virtual. You may not be able to, you may have files on your computer, someone else may have files on their computer, but if you put everything within RiverLife in your club page, everything can be found and turned over to the next year. All right. How do I get in? We already talked about that. If you need to guide your advisor through to get into RiverLife, or remind them, again, when you say My Pioneer portal, as far as, you know, as being a student, I say going through my Okta on my computer, same thing. So definitely just guide them through. It's same place, My Pioneer portal or your Okta for employees, and you go through. We just tend to call it two different things. So, and this is the public access page. You don't have to be a student to access this, but for student events and things, you do have to be a student to attend. All right, so planning guidelines. Right now, you probably are thinking about your meetings. You probably are thinking about your events and things that you normally have done in the past. Things may be a little different this year. One, we're trying to be as strict as possible on this 2 to 3 weeks in advance. One, it's going to help you because you're going to be able to get your event out there for students to be able to see it. The longer it's out there, the more you promote it, the easier it's going to be to get people to your events. Again, we're in a virtual environment. If I check back every 2 days on social media, or every 1 day, or if you're there every 2 seconds, you want to make sure these things are being seen. But if you show it today and the event's tomorrow, you want to make sure that that your audience knows where to look for these things. And there's a couple ways to get that out there. And like I said, we'll talk about that when we get on our RiverLife section. All right. So whatever you're thinking about right now, yes, I want you to have that, mask and CDC guidelines in your head, that 6 feet distance. Really, right now, we're going for strictly online. Unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at right now. Things may change for the spring. So if you were thinking about in-person meetings, rooms and things will not be released. I'm sorry. So start getting your virtual repertoire and start thinking about where you want to host these meetings. We have a lot of different options as far as what medias we can use. There's a lot of things out there. You just got to find which one works for you. All right. So make sure that you decide what the activity is and get that event request in 2 to 3 weeks in advance for approval. There's been times where we got things a day ahead of time or as the event is taking place, like 5 minutes before. That will not do this time around. Your event will be denied, and we will come to check to make sure that no one is using the space or where you're at. Unfortunately, we need that time to be able to find out what's going on, who's going to be there. Virtual makes it a lot easier, but there are some questions that will need to be asked. Just for future reference, things after Tuesday, for example. Oh yes, you can add or change things, and that usually comes to us. So if you've already had an event approval, but say your description changed, or you put all your meetings in and you wanted to add the specific details for that meeting, absolutely, or the time needed to change. You can all make those changes within RiverLife. The president or the advisor can go in and add events into RiverLife or change them. And usually you can go right back in and make those edits if you need to. Or if there's something that you just sent off, bam, and you realize that I made a mistake, if you send me an email, we can definitely go in, make the edit on our side, and just make it very seamless, all right? And just remember, as you're putting those events forward, it does have to go through a couple people, so that's why we say 2 to 3 weeks. It allows us time to look at it, make sure what's going on. So scheduling facilities, that is Dr. Rebecca Wright. There's her email. It's also a part of the event request process. But like I said, if you're selecting that for this time around, it has to be something very, very different. And right now, it's just not being approved. So if you do have any questions about that, definitely come see us. But definitely kind of know what you're requesting of us and what you can do to keep everyone safe. And virtual is the safest thing that we can do. So just keep that in mind. All right. Advisors should be checking Workday. For funding, the head advisor for each organization should be able to check for funding purposes on what you can do with your funds. You may even split your group into different committees. Like I said, if you're hosting a big event, you don't want to carry it all on yourself as a rep, president, vice president. Your board should disseminate that into your members. Just keep that in mind when you're doing these type of events. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of extra hands. Extra volunteers is definitely important. But like I said, things have been a little easier to reach out to members through virtual, so that's a plus. But right now, just keep that in mind when you're doing major planning events. All right. So, like I said, after the event, you want to make sure that you do your points request, and we'll talk about our point system. Points are a way to gain additional, it's kind of like our competition within clubs. And everybody does well with a little competition, right? All right, so we'll talk about that in a second. Activity request procedures, just so you know, when it's submitted on RiverLife, then it goes through an approval process. We also, if it's on a branch site, we may include some of our branch campus managers. Again, if you do not do so, you may not get funded for an event, or the event will be denied, or both. All right, clubs can do fundraising. There may be some virtual fundraising options out there. It's time to get creative, guys. So think about what you can do to fundraise this year around. If you are thinking about doing, there's some virtual conferences that are out there. So don't think that, you know, everything is limited. Just think about the different options that could possibly be out there. I've gone to some great virtual conferences. Yes, I would love to be there in person, but there may be funding still necessary for those. You may be doing some fundraising projects. I've seen some hand sanitizer ones. I've seen some ones for masks. I've seen some very trendy ones, so get creative. All right, before you start fundraising, every club should have a Fund 6 account. Advisors will know if you have your Fund 6 account. If they do not know, they can always contact Linda Rocher to find out their Fund 6 account number. They can call us and check with us, or if they don't know their balance, they can always contact Lynn. This is for all your fundraising monies. So just knowing some of the terminology, Fund 6 fundraising, just think of it like that way. All right. So when we talked about points, why are they important? Clubs can gain points from their activities that they do. Now, this includes virtual activities. Some of you came to Week of Welcome. Some of you came to, we actually had a few students come to our Get Connected events at the branch campuses where we're doing IDs. We still have Pruitt and Mueller campus left for next week. So definitely, if you need to get an ID closer to home, we're going to be at those campuses, or you can always come into main campus. Plus, we had some great information that we were handing out. But all those count for club points. So you may even want to have one person who does your points for your organization and submits them. This is our interclub competition. We do have the Club of the Year title for the most club points at the end of the year. So we're still doing that this year. Some clubs have been involved through the summer because they've been embracing this virtual environment. All right. When you go on the homepage of RiverLife, you can go up to forms, and that's where the CCG points request form is located. Anybody from your organization can submit for points, but you don't want to be submitting double points, because our treasurer will catch that and say, hey, this has already been submitted. All right. The next thing with that, you want to make sure you're doing tracking for these events. It's very important because you get additional club points. All right. So as you're going through, you want to make sure that we say you can upload sign-in sheets, or you can upload. There's a couple different things that is happening through RiverLife that have made changes, and it's made it very easy to upload, say, a Zoom spreadsheet of those students. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute when we get on RiverLife. All right. So only active organization members are allowed to get points. Now, if you have 40 members on your organization roster, but there's only 30 active members and the other 10 you've never seen, they never attended any of your virtual meetings this semester or over the summer, or they don't respond to emails, is that really an active member? So don't hold on to people just because of numbers. It's not about numbers, it's about what you do. All right, it's about the participation from those members, it's about your impact. So don't try for numbers, try for involved students who are actually participating. Yeah, if someone can't make it to everything, guess what? This is a perfect environment right now for them to get involved. All right. So I'm going to actually hold off on the RiverLife portion just so we can get through this, and then we're going to start that in just a second. But I'm actually going to call up Zain Al-Turk to tell you a little bit about social media.
Hey guys, oh my gosh, I miss seeing you guys. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm just gonna take this off so you guys can hear me properly. All right, so we're gonna talk about social media, the wondrous, lovely world of social media. So right now, because we are living in a virtual environment, some of you guys may want to create a social media page or may be interested in creating a social media page. And I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on a little bit of the information that you need to know before you do that, because you can't just go on Instagram and create like an organization without, you know, saying anything. So step one is all the social media pages need to be approved through student activities and through our institutional advancement department. So the forms to request a social media page, along with the procedures and things like that, are going to be on RiverLife. If you go on RiverLife and click on, or go in the search bar and click on CCG under documents, and then I think it's social media. It's documents and then social media, and you click on there, and they should be in there. So you can take the form, you can print it, or send it to us, look over the procedures as well, and then you know, that way we'll be able to get that process started. Keep in mind that you have to have an advisor, a student activities member, one of us in this area, Erica, myself, or Miss Rochelle, and somebody from IA has to all be admins. And the reason being is, let's say you are an admin on the page and you graduate and we don't know the username, we don't know the password, and you graduate and no one can get inside that account anymore and it becomes like non-existent. So we need to be able to know that information. That way, once you do graduate, the advisor can take over, or one of us can take over to make sure to keep that page active in the meantime. So keep those things in mind. Go to the next slide. All right, so here are our social media pages, so please follow us. We are really, really active on Facebook and Instagram. So we have a lot of fun on Instagram. We do different things. If you've been following us throughout the summer, we've been doing different things like Trivia Thursdays. You know, we're trying to post some really funny Instagram reels. So keep in the know with us on there. And then we have the Twitter page and the Snapchat. Those ones are also kind of for the main IRSC page. But you can go ahead and follow those to keep up. So another thing I'm going to just highlight quickly is different marketing websites for you to create flyers and things, and also communication apps. So a wonderful thing that we've been using a lot over the summer, the website is called Canva. We used to use Poster My Wall, and we love Poster My Wall, but Canva has a lot of different things that you can do, and it's kind of like, I don't know, there's just a lot of almost premium features without having to pay the premium price. So it's really great. Both of those options are free. That's where we create most of our flyers, and it's very user-friendly and beginner-friendly. So if you don't know how to create a flyer, it's definitely pretty simple to use because they have templates and things like that. So group meetings with apps and web browsers. So right now we're using Blackboard Collaborative. Right now, as Erica mentioned in the beginning, it is free, and we are going to get used to using this because everyone has access to it once you are a student here or you work here. So that has been really great. I'm sure you guys have also been using Zoom. So we are going to use Zoom as well, especially for some of maybe our larger events and things like that. So you can kind of keep those in mind so you are able to use that. And then Microsoft Teams is another one. And then group communication. So with group communication, there's a plethora of different ways you can communicate with your members and things like that. Obviously, we encourage RiverLife. You know, you can communicate with your members there. And then we have Band, which we've been using the Band app. Erica and I have been using it. It's really great because you can have different teams that you're on in there. It's very simple to use. WhatsApp is also pretty simple. GroupMe, Facebook Messenger, Discord, all of those things, whatever you feel like is good to use for everybody within the organization. So just keep that in mind. And I think Erica is coming back. So it's good seeing you guys. Well, kind of.
We do miss everyone. We truly
Yeah.
do. One of the things I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go off and then I'm going to share my screen here. Before I do, I'm going to actually share a link. And the reason why I'm sharing this link as this slowly goes. Sorry. I'm terrible with mass talk. It definitely, I might have held it idling for too long. All right, there we go. All right, so right now we're having officer training. as the heading said, we are in 2.0 on RiverLife. The great thing about RiverLife right now with those updates, there's been a few changes to help it kind of go to the virtual online audience here. And as it's taking its very slow time, and if anybody has any questions, please let us know at this point. Like I said, we're going to switch over to our RiverLife update and tell you about some of the new features that it does have. Why is this taking so long?
It's fighting you.
I know it's fighting me.
Oh.
But
Maybe
that's
try a different
okay.
browser?
Maybe.
Like try Firefox maybe?
I think you can. Yeah, you should be able to. Today's event for rep training. It doesn't do me any good though if I can't get in. All right, let me go to another browser. I think this one's thinking really, really hard. Is that CCG representative required to join? Oh, great question. You want to go ahead and take?
That's a good question. Some of the committees that we have here include the Legislative Committee, the Student Life, Historian, PR and Marketing, and the, oh my. I'm sorry,
Helping
I thought
Hands.
I knew this. Helping Hands, thank you so much. That was the most active one. How can I have forgotten? Thank you so much, Ariana.
Yeah.
So those are
I got you.
not in the chat as well, because mask talk. Yeah, they're all also available on RiverLife.
Well, it's fighting me right now to show, and I'm not quite sure what the problem is, but here, let me try one more thing, otherwise I'll just mention some of the new features. All right, so just to tell you, one of the new features is an actual attendance tracker. I'm going to continue to try to get in as I'm talking. It's an attendance tracker feature. So for example, if we're in this meeting as we are now, I guess outside of any technical difficulties, once you get into RiverLife, you are able to, as a president or as an advisor, because you have complete event access, you're able to go into the event tracking feature and you're able to copy that and paste it within the whatever the chat feature within that is, or whatever program, Zoom, Blackboard, and everybody who is a part of that chat at that moment is able to click on that link and RSVP that they were there. Just like if you were typing in person on one of the tablets that we had where you would type in your student ID number, this way it would actually make it where you would be able to go into the event and say that you were here for that, and you would get credit for it just like you would on any other. I'm just hoping this goes in because it kind of threw me off here, but that's okay. Let's try this in another browser, RiverLife. Come on, big money, big money. And it's still thinking.
Maybe it's just
RiverLife. Yeah, something's going on. All right, so that's one of the new features that's in RiverLife. Another one is embedding. You're able to actually embed your videos within a description. For example, if you're talking about a service project where you're talking about, one of the ones that we had is actually you can make t-shirts or dog toys out of old t-shirts. But if you're talking about the service project and want to provide everything for the student, you no longer have to just put a link. When you put a YouTube link within a description on RiverLife or within an article, it will actually embed the video within the article. So that's definitely one of the positives. Another plus that we've recently had when it comes down to tracking, not only do you have where you're able to of course, invite students through email. You're able to track attendance. If you have the emails of the students who attended, if you have the student ID number of the students who attended, you can track through that. We also have user guides that show you how to track attendance. Those are located on our Campus Coalition Government documents. You can find those RiverLife user guides to show you how to track, to show you how to add attendance, to show you how to add experiences, to message your members. All those actually have a step-by-step user guide on RiverLife under documents. So definitely check those out. Like I said, don't know what's happening, but always have a backup plan. The next thing would be that if you are doing, say, a Zoom session, you could actually go in to your Zoom, and I'm not sure if this is accessible on the basic Zoom. I actually pay for, I don't know, what is it, the Pro, the next step up. And you're able to pull attendance rosters. So when you go into RiverLife, go to track, go to upload, and it'll ask you, do you want default, like an Excel CVS file? And it's basically going into an Excel spreadsheet and having just the student ID numbers or the email, and then you can actually upload a whole list of students. Or you can select Zoom, and it'll bring you to your Zoom page, and it will allow you to pull the attendance roster from that. Now, the one thing I do know about that, it's great, it's easy, as long as everybody puts in their IRSC email. So that is one of the caveats when you're doing Zoom sessions. You want to make sure everybody's signing up with their IRSC email, because if they don't, then they're going to come in as a AOL, Google, Yahoo, and that person's not going to get credit for that through RiverLife. It's going to look like everybody's name, everybody's email is going to come on there, but they're not going to get any credit for attending that meeting. So I just want you to make sure that you kind of know that. Always work through the IRSC emails as you're going through. All right. Those are some of the recent changes in there. You can also create forms if you're voting on the, if you're doing elections, if you're doing votes to find out what color shirt you're going to get this year, you know, things like that. You can use the forms within your organization. Definitely the formatting on those, it looks a little different, but the functionality, they still have all the functionality that they've had in the past. I think that is about it that I can remember offhand. Like, again, oh wait, it has arrived. All right, so I don't know what happened just there, but I'm telling you, it's a blessing. It popped up. I'm able to go on RiverLife. So just to show you, of course, the page looks very similar. These are all the clubs and organizations that I'm a part of. As a organization leader, make sure you mute your mic. As an organization leader, you want to make sure that, I'm looking up here. No, there we go. As an organization leader, one, you want to make sure everybody in your organization, now more than ever, and that one has a photo, because I know if you're like me, I feel very disconnected to everyone because I can't really see their faces, and all media, not everybody turns on their camera. So make sure you have everybody in your organization actually put a picture of themselves, which can help. The other thing would be to go into their account and update their settings. All right, just make sure that you go into the text message settings. So say if right before this meeting, every single one of you had your text message setting on, and 15 minutes prior to the meeting or an hour prior to the meeting, I wanted to message you and say, hey, here's the link for the meeting. I could have text messaged you and told you that the meeting was taking place. One, if you have RSVP'd on the event, and two, if you have your text message feature on. Again, through RiverLife, it's always the clubs or organizations that are messaging you. So you want to make sure that you are in the legacy track. Oh, yeah. You want to make sure that you are have as many communication features open as possible, because right now these are the only methods people have to get a hold of you. If you do not have, or check your email regularly, if you do not have text messaging features on, if you are not using, that IRC email, guess what? Then you may be missing communications that you should be getting. So if you've kind of got out of the practice, get back into the practice of checking it at least daily to see what's going on, if not with your classes, with your organization as well. So you should be doing it for both. All right. You can also change your privacy settings, but primarily we want to make sure that you get your text message feature turned on so we can send text messages, especially when we're having big events like the wonderful drive-in we just had. You would be able to get text messages through RiverLife if you were signed up in here, and you would be the first to know about certain activities that are going on. All right. And like I showed you before, we have the events tab. And I told you about the event. Me as an administrator on this account, so your advisor or your president will be able to go into this meeting, like the one we're in right now. New attendance URL. So I'm going to copy this right here, go into the chat, and I'm going to paste it. It looks very long, but all right. If you click on this tab, this link, you will RSVP for today's training. All right, so take a moment and go into the chat and click on the link I just posted. This is just how easy it is to do tracking. One, you know it's only the people who are in the chat. If someone comes into your meeting and is there for 2 minutes and logs out and never comes back, guess what? Look, all you have to do is click on this link in the chat, and that gives your RSVP for that day. So if I go up here and do a refresh, look, it went up from 3. So some of you have already clicked on the link. That's awesome. All right, so that number is just going to go up. So make sure you click on this link to RSVP and say that you were here today, and it puts it on the records. All right, so it makes it very easy as a president or as an advisor to make that happen. So again, yes, question. Was there a question? I see another question. Yes, Sergio?
I'm sorry, I'm still not able to click on the link. I'm on RiverLife, and the screen was that kind of slow, and I don't see exactly what you did.
Okay. Well, you don't see the link in the chat?
Okay, I got it.
Okay. All right. So just look in the chat. You might have to scroll down if there's some more messages that came up, or scroll up. But that's just how easy it is to do that link chat. And the other thing would be to track attendance. All right. So we have our attendance in here already. When I go to add attendance, you can do it. You can do invitations. You can also go up here and do, attended. I see both of you there. Good deal. All right, so text entry. If you know everybody's email who attended, you can put it in that way, or you can do card ID, which is their student ID numbers, and you can do attended. All right. The other feature I was showing you was that you can do a Zoom upload. And it will take me to my Zoom account where I would have to log in, and it would take me into where I could select the previous meeting roster, and then I can upload it directly from there. Makes it very easy for those organizations that want to do it that way. Another little thing would be to show you an upload. I think it was,
The TED Talks too.
oh, let's do TED Talk.
They should be embedded in there.
All right.
Maybe. Oh yeah.
See how this looks now? Now your event is almost taken up to another level, because no longer do you have just words, you actually have the video embedded right in there. So if you want groups or organizations to, or whoever's looking at your event to really see it, this is a great way to do it. Again, it's YouTube videos that pop up in there. I could not see the link to RSVP. I don't know, did anybody have to refresh or anything to see the link? I saw a couple people said they couldn't see it. Nobody?
Maybe some people kicked it out so the chat deletes.
Maybe. I will actually paste it one more time. There you go. And that's another thing I've noticed about Blackboard. If you do use Blackboard as your mode of communication in your meetings, if someone leaves and comes back in, you don't get to see the previous chat. That's one thing I did notice. So if I posted something 2 seconds ago and then you come in now, you won't be able to see the previous chat. So if it knocked you out and you came back in, that's one of the off things. Zoom, on the other hand, you would be able to go back and see the rest of the chat. So those are 2 things that I've noticed from both using both of those resources, and both have breakout rooms, which is pretty cool. And both have a couple different features that I've used. And if you ever need someone to help you test out which medium works well for you, let me know. And again, we can set up a Blackboard for you for your personal meetings for your club, and you can use that to set up for all semester long or all year long. Just let me know if that's the means you want to go through to get logged in and have your meetings. So, okay. Any questions? I know it's a lot to take in a small amount of time. Under forms on the main page, if you go to IRSC, or excuse me, the RiverLife homepage, which mine takes forever to get here on this computer. I'm using a different computer, so it's not mine. But once you do get back to the homepage, after it takes forever, it usually doesn't take this long. After you do get back to the homepage, you can see at the top, you can see the forms button. That's where you would submit club points. The link took me back to the homepage. Are you logged into RiverLife? The one thing I will say with any links that you're going to experience through RiverLife, if it's going to be something where it's tracking related, anything tracking and you want to get credit for it, before you click on the link, you need to be logged into RiverLife. So you need to be in your Pioneer portal and logged in, and then it will take you directly to what you need to do. Same thing goes for like voting and forms. If only students can fill it out, you have to be logged into RiverLife and then click on the link. Same thing happens like when we have voting. It'll take you to RiverLife, but it'll be like the public view. All right, it took me back to the homepage. All right, if you stay on a little bit after, we can take a look and see why it won't. But make sure that you are logged into your RiverLife page and then click on the link and see if that works. Does anybody have any further questions? Okay. Like I said, it's a lot to take on. We have our first meeting next week through this same link. And then the cool thing is we're going to be using this all year long for the CCG meetings, General Assembly meetings, which again, next week, Wednesday, there should be a rep from every club there. We also will be using it for our office hours. So organizations can, or individuals can stop by during virtual office hours and see e-board members, or they will have physical office hours where they can see people one by one. So don't bring like your whole club to come see them, because we're definitely still practicing social distancing and only one person is allowed in the office at a time. So we want to make sure that we are following by those guidelines. Yes. What I want you to take a look at, all those documents I was telling you about, really make it sign me out. Like it did not know me at all. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to recognize me. That's fine. When you go into the Campus Coalition Government page, let me make sure is it still sharing? Just want to make sure. All right, so when you go into the Campus Coalition Government page on RiverLife, I actually have mine up here in memberships. And if you are not a part of the Campus Coalition Government page, you can request to join, but usually it's the CCG reps, alternates, presidents, If you are another position, let me know. But those are usually who is granted permission to the paid. So if you are not among one of those positions, I may ask you what position you hold within your organization or take a look. All right, but if you go into the Campus Coalition Government page and you go to, scroll all the way down and go to Documents, you'll be able to see the important dates for CCG. Fine, if it wants to save to this computer. All right. So we have our first General Assembly meeting tomorrow. Our next one will be on the 23rd. We have a leadership conference on Friday, the 25th. So this has all of our meetings and our other deadlines. Not sure why that's there. Computer looks different. But it has all of our meetings, when applications open back up, when pictures are due. So it has everything on here already. All right, and that's already in there. I put, for meeting purposes and just being able to be aware of what's coming up, this is updated as of yesterday. So as we update different events, as we update our calendar, we're going to keep this up to date on here as well. We also have our Constitution here, fundraising activities. These are where the social media forms are. Here are the RiverLife guides. The new point system is already here. And when I said new point system, the only thing that has changed this year, we got rid of box tops because they have gone to a virtual format, so it's really hard to turn in box tops for club points. The only thing that we did change, which is a plus, is we took that out for box tops, and we added for campus sharing points. If you host a virtual event, meetings do not count for points, remember that. But if you host a virtual event, you actually get the campus sharing points. So that's an extra 50 points for just hosting a virtual event. Remember, meetings do not count for points. So if you have club meetings, but you have an event coming up, you can submit for club points. And the whole point system is here. We give points based on community service, school involvement, and educational development. You can get different points for just being involved versus actually hosting an event. So that's why there's 2 sets of points for each of these. Community service, you can get 1 point per person per hour and start off with a set 50 points at the beginning. So this is kind of a fun challenge system. One, to kind of help you along to make sure that you're doing what you need to do by requesting the event, because you can't get club points if the event isn't in RiverLife. So just remember that as your treasurer is looking over these, the first thing she's going to do is make sure the event is in RiverLife. She can associate the event points request to an event in RiverLife. All right, making sure that you did some tracking. Look, you can get an extra 10 points just for tracking. All right. If you're virtually collaborating with organizations, you get an extra 30 points if you're collaborating with another organization. So if DECA collaborated with the writing club, that is a collaboration. It should be where you're both putting forth some work to create the event. All right. Don't just do it just for points, because we're going to know. All right. So that's our new point system. It was just recently updated. Remember, we do not want to see any points from spring. Spring is over. Right now, you can submit any points from summer all the way through the end of the fall term. So we have our kind of submitting timeline, just because some people would wait to the end of the year and then start submitting from 2 semesters ago. So we kind of narrowed it in. So just remember, you don't want to start submitting points willy-nilly. All right? Any questions? Sorry, when I go out, I can't see. So, just a little confused about the link to get credit. Oh, Sergio, you've already been given credit. I saw you on the list there. No, there is a CCG. Thank you, Rochelle. There is a CCG meeting next week, 12:30 to 1:30. All right, the first one of the year. All right. All right. Any other questions? All right, guys. This has been a joy. Haha, perfect timing. This has been a joy. So definitely make sure that if you do have any questions, here's my email. There we go. Wow, that was quick. And let me know if you do have any questions. Email is best. I can definitely reach out to you and, see what's going on. Screenshots kind of help me see what you're talking about. Right now, I'm kind of shooting in the blind and doing some guessing. But if there's anything that I can help with, you have questions about your club, your e-board members are here, as well as your advisors for the Campus Coalition Government. So let us know what we can do. Yes, no, the meetings are always on Wednesday at 12:30. Wednesday at 12:30. Next week, and it usually skips every other week. So definitely go in and see the important dates for CCG, and you'll be able to see all of our dates for the Campus Coalition Government and where we're going to meet. But it's always 12:30 for the General Assembly on a Wednesday, starting next week, all right? And we do every other week, all right? Kind of reading over the chat, so, all right. Thank you. All right, bye, guys. And if your advisor doesn't remember, they're meeting us at 3 o'clock, same link. Bye.